In the words of Bertrand Barere himself, to punish the oppressors of humanity is clemency, to forgive them is barbarity. As we delve into the enigmatic life of Bertrand Barere, we find ourselves in the heart of the French Revolution, a period of radical social and political upheaval. Born Bertrand Barere de Vieuzac, this influential figure first saw the world from the historic town of Tarbes in France. The son of a noble family, Barere was destined for a life of privilege and prestige. However, his path was not to be confined to the gilded halls of the aristocracy. Instead, Barere chose to immerse himself in the world of law, honing his skills and sharpening his wit in the courtrooms of France. This initial career in law would serve as the foundation for his later foray into the tumultuous world of revolutionary politics. In the throes of the revolution, Barere emerged as a prominent figure, his voice echoing through the halls of the National Convention. He was a man of the people, a journalist who used his eloquence and popularity to sway public opinion. Yet despite his influence, he was perceived by many as a vacillating politician, lacking the fiery revolutionary ideals that defined his contemporaries. Barere was a man of contradictions, a political chameleon who could adapt to the changing winds of the revolution. He was revered for his eloquence, yet criticized for his perceived lack of conviction. He was a man who defied simple categorization, a puzzle that continues to perplex historians to this day. A man of eloquence and popularity, Barere was, however, seen as a vacillating politician without strong revolutionary ideals. This paradox forms the crux of his persona. Barere's journey into politics began with his election to the Estates General in 1789. This marked the start of a rollercoaster ride that would see Bertrand Barere rise to become one of the central figures in the French Revolution. The Estates General was the legislative body in France until the French Revolution, and Barere's election to this body was his first foray into the political arena. He was a lawyer by training, and this background proved instrumental in his political career. He was known for his eloquence and his ability to win over the crowd, which made him a popular figure in the political circles of the time. As a member of the Estates General, Barere was part of the Third Estate, which represented the common people of France. He quickly became a prominent voice for the commoners, advocating for their rights and pushing for reforms. He was an ardent supporter of the French Revolution and was seen as a radical in his views. His time in the Estates General was short-lived, however. In 1791, he transitioned to serving as a judge in the Constituent Assembly. This was a key moment in Barere's political career, as it marked his transition from a representative of the people to a decision-maker in the government. In the Constituent Assembly, Barere's influence grew even further. He presided over important trials and decisions, further cementing his place in the political landscape. His radical leanings became even more pronounced during this time. He was known for his fiery speeches and his harsh criticism of the monarchy. His words often incited the crowd and led to widespread unrest. Despite his radical views and his popularity, Barere was seen as a vacillating politician. He was known to change his stance frequently, often to suit his own interests. This earned him criticism from his contemporaries, but it did not deter him from his political ambitions. Barere's early political career set the stage for his prominent role in the National Convention. His time in the Estates General and the Constituent Assembly shaped him into a formidable politician and a key player in the events that would unfold during the French Revolution. He was a man of contradictions, but there was no denying his influence and his impact on the course of French history. In the National Convention, Bertrand Barere presided over the trial of Louis XVI and was a crucial member of the Committee of Public Safety. This was a pivotal period in French history, a time when the fate of a king and a nation hung in the balance, and Barere was right at the heart of it. Barere's role in the National Convention wasn't merely ornamental. He was actively involved in the trial of Louis XVI, the last king of France before the fall of the monarchy during the French Revolution. This was a monumental task, one that required not only a deep understanding of law, but also a particular kind of courage. After all, they were putting a king on trial, an act that was audacious and unprecedented. As a member of the Committee of Public Safety, Barere's influence extended beyond the trial. This committee was essentially the de facto government during the Reign of Terror, a period marked by political radicalism and rampant executions. And Barere was no mere bystander during this time. He was a significant player who actively supported the radical Montagnards, a political group that advocated for the interests of the working classes. Barere's support wasn't limited to words and political maneuvering. He played a key role in the establishment of a sans-culotte army. The sans-culottes, meaning without breeches, were the common people of the lower classes in late 18th century France, a group that was instrumental in the radical phase of the revolution. But Barere's time in the National Convention wasn't without controversy. Despite his eloquence and popularity, his tendency to vacillate and his lack of strong revolutionary ideals drew criticism. One of his most vocal critics was Jean-Paul Marat, a radical journalist and politician. This criticism, along with his own political calculations, led Barere to vote for the execution of the Girondists, a rival political faction. This decision would go on to become one of the most controversial aspects of his political career. Despite his popularity, Barere's vacillations made him a target of criticism from Jean-Paul Marat and led him to vote for the execution of the Girondists. It was a time of upheaval and radical change, and Barere was a man right in the middle of it all. As the Reign of Terror progressed, Barere began to change his allegiances. Now, this was a man who had stood shoulder to shoulder with the radical Montagnards, a key player in the establishment of the Committee of Public Safety and the sans-culotte army. However, the winds of change were blowing, and Barere found himself at the mercy of these winds. Barere's transformation was a gradual process. He had been a staunch supporter of Maximilien Robespierre, the architect of the Reign of Terror. Yet as the revolution's violent fervor escalated, Barere began to question the direction it was taking. His faith in Robespierre's leadership began to waver, and he found himself increasingly at odds with his former ally. This growing disillusionment led Barere to a decision that would forever alter his political trajectory. He turned against Robespierre, joining forces with those who sought to topple him from power. It was a risky move, given Robespierre's influence, but Barere was no stranger to political gambles. His involvement in the coup against Robespierre was instrumental, and when the dust settled, it was clear that Barere had played a significant role in the downfall of his former comrade. This marked a pivotal moment in the revolution and in Barere's political career. His decision to turn against Robespierre was met with mixed reactions from his contemporaries. Some lauded him as a hero, a man who had seen the error of his ways and taken decisive action. Others, however, viewed him as a traitor, an opportunist who shifted alliances to suit his own ambitions. Regardless of these varied perceptions, one thing was clear. Barere's shifting allegiances marked the end of his support for the radical Montagnards and began a new chapter in his political career. His story serves as a stark reminder of the volatile nature of politics during the French Revolution, a time when alliances were as fluid as the Seine, and survival often meant choosing the winning side. Bertrand Barere, a man of eloquence and popularity, was a paradox of the French Revolution. This phrase encapsulates the fascinating and tumultuous life of this key figure of the French Revolution. Born into nobility in Tarbes, France, Barere began his career in the calm halls of law, only to be swept up in the maelstrom of revolutionary politics. As a prominent member of the National Convention, he played a significant role in shaping the course of the revolution. His charisma and eloquence won him the admiration of many, while his vacillating political allegiances earned him the scorn of others. His initial support for the radical Montagnards and the establishment of the Committee of Public Safety revealed his revolutionary zeal. Yet his later turn against Maximilien Robespierre demonstrated a pragmatism that some would call opportunistic. His role as a communicator during the Reign of Terror was pivotal. Barere presided over the trial of Louis XVI and voted for the execution of the Girondists. These actions, among others, earned him the chilling moniker Anacreon of the Guillotine. This nickname, a testament to his role during one of the most brutal periods of the revolution, hints at a darker side to his charismatic personality. Despite his significant contributions to the revolution, Barere's legacy is one of contradiction. His eloquence and popularity contrast sharply with his reputation as a vacillating politician without strong revolutionary ideals. This tension between public persona and personal convictions lends an air of enigma to his character. And so, Bertrand Barere remains an enigmatic figure in history, a symbol of the tumultuous times of the French Revolution. His life serves as a stark reminder of the complexities and contradictions inherent in revolutionary politics, and of the sometimes blurry line between hero and villain in the annals of history.